Hello everyone, Dan here from the Next Issue Podcast. On today's video, I'll be doing a review for Shogun Episode 10, A Dream of a Dream. This is the season finale for Shogun, one of the best shows on television. Uh, Let me give you a quick synopsis. We'll go over the cast, then we will get into spoilers. So if you haven't seen the episode, make sure to go check it out. This show is fantastic. There's a reason that I was doing reviews week to week because this show just deserves all the attention. So, in the wake of the tragic death, Blackthorn finally considers the true nature of Toranaga's plan. This show stars Hiroyuki Sanada as Yoshi Toranaga, Cosmo Jarvis as John Blackthorn, Anna Sawai as Tora Mariko. We also have Fumi Nikaido as Lady Ochiba Nokara, Tadanobu Asano as Kashigi Yabushige, and Takehiro Hira as Ishido Kasunari, who is our main antagonist. Wow, what a way to go out on like a super high for this episode. I will say, I think it subverts a little bit of my expectations because I would have thought that we would have ended up in some kind of like gigantic, epic battle. But the show, of course, chooses to do something very different. We'll talk about it. So, we start with John being smuggled out of Osaka, and he turns out to have been kept alive by the church, who made a deal with Mariko before she passed, and also with we discover later Lord Toranaga, right? So he is to be brought back to Toranaga and the village, and just everyone is going back. Yabushige, even after the betrayal, we do see before they go back, we see the council arguing about, first of all, the noble families not feeling safe in the castle, the noble families being felt like they were kept hostage in the castle. So we see that Mariko's sacrifice was not in vain. That she has liberated all the hostages, and taking a big card from Ishido's playbook. Really, just really taking something that, that was one of the things that kind of held them in power. These noble families felt like they had to abide by his rules and stuff. So even the council of regents seems to be in a little bit of disarray. uh, we also see that Ishido goes to Yabushige, and Yabushige is not like, he feels guilty. He feels like he knows he's done something wrong. He has betrayed not only his lord, but Lady Mariko as well. So we do see that she has passed away. She's given a proper burial. In the meanwhile, John misses all this because he had been out, like, with a concussion or something, probably after the explosion. But that is when we see John going back to Toranaga and his village. So later on, we do discover that the deal that was made was that they would leave John go back alive in exchange for destroying the ship. Now, this prompts us to see that Toranaga has gone through the village looking for the traitors that are working with the church to destroy the ship. It is definitely later revealed that this was all part of Toranaga's design. So, like, a lot of deception on the part of Toranaga, a lot of like him testing his people and the loyalty of his subjects, because he was ruthlessly cracking down on the villagers. Like, but it feels like this was some kind of test for John instead. There's a lot of designs within Toranaga's plan, but man, Hiroyuki Sanada just plays that so well. There's a lot of scenes where he must remain very stoic. He has a big. There's a lot of this episode was a lot of conversations. Like I said, instead of big battles, it was more like people talking things out, getting ready for the next thing. So Yabushige, he comes back. He's stripped of his lands and his title, and he's told that he will, he should commit seppuku by the next day. He asks that Toranaga seconds him in that matter, um, which does lead to later on them having a really interesting conversation where Toranaga gives him pretty much his full plan, right? But at this point, Yabushige is going to die. So there's, I guess, no harm in letting him in on the plan, because we do know that unfortunately um, he did betray his own lord. So uh, John decides to stay and fight for Toranaga. He asks him to rebuild the ships, to build him an armada so he can go to war. And the whole episode just kind of comes down to a few things. First of all, everybody's preparing for war. But then also the revelation that Lady Ochiba no Kara, Lady Ochiba has sent message to Toranaga that she will ensure that her son's army does not go to war. When Ishido takes the war to Toranaga, he believes that he will be aided by I guess, the royal army. But she mentions in the letter that she will ensure that Ishido does not have the support of that army. So probably this is probably all part of the plan, right? Because we know that Lady Ochiba and Mariko had a very close relationship, if not a little adversarial when they were younger, but definitely very friendly as well. And I think this kind of like Toranaga has shown that Ishido's plan is not very stable, that he cannot control the power. So maybe this is kind of like leading all to Toranaga's rights, because all Toranaga wants to do is serve the heir, right? He just wants to make sure that power is held until he becomes of age. So at least that's kind of what we see at the time. So yeah, very interesting episode. Really, really exciting stuff happening. Beautiful visuals. There are some places where Cosmo Jarvis' acting just seems a little weird to me. Like there's a place where he has to break down and cry, and his expression was kind of funny instead of dramatic. I think I don't want in a show that's full of such a strong cast. I think he's probably not as strong as some of the other actors. That would be something that I've really kind of talked about all throughout the season. So very interesting stuff. Um, we saw some scenes of a Blackthorn individual dying in bed with two kids, like playing around, like just an old. This is an older person, but I wasn't sure, and you guys can let me know in the comments. Was that supposed to be John, and if like John remembering everything that happened to him when he was young, or was one of the kids supposed to be John before he became who he is? I think it's the earlier. I think that's just John, maybe thinking back in his life. But yeah, I don't know. You guys, let me know. What do you think? So, as always, if you've seen this episode, let me know what you thought about it down in the comments. Stay tuned. We have more comic reviews, trailer reactions, TV recaps, all that fun stuff in the channel. Thanks for watching, everyone.